in this training, I am going to show you exactly how you can master scale weight fluctuations, how you can master the mindset behind, let's call them the absolute fuckery, which is the scale weight as well. Of course, we know that this is probably one of the biggest barriers for your fat loss journey at the moment, probably has been for a long period of time. So within this training today, I'm going to take you through exactly how you can master this, how you can start to work towards a better mindset around the scale weight, how you can understand the scale weight, and how we can help you get moving forward on your weight loss journey and not let these fuckers stop you anymore. So let's waste no time and let's get ourselves into this. So the scale weight fluctuation mastery. And most importantly, we understand that weight loss, this is the killer to our weight loss journeys. This is the biggest killer to our weight loss journeys as well. And you know, how many times have you wanted to do this after stepping on the scales? Let's be real. You know, how many times have you wanted to just fucking throw shit out the window and just never weigh in ever again? And sometimes just go and order the nearest takeaway. You know, it's quite a common thing as well. We've all experienced this. And if I was to look back on my own weight loss journey, this happened to me a lot. And either my own clients as well before starting with us. And, you know, either at the very beginning, once we're focused on helping them with the mindset around the scale weight, you know, they feel like this too when they see the fluctuations on the scale. But over time, you know, you'll even be able to see our clients' feedback, them say how much that they've developed a mindset, not just a mindset around like fat loss overall, but all, of course, scale weight, food, etc. And this is exactly what we do inside the Unbecoming Project. But straight away, I want you to understand that this is normal, but this is the killer to so many weight loss journeys, and we're going to make sure that that doesn't kill your weight loss journey anymore. So, and you know, they always tend to be the most common reason that people give up. Probably the reason that you've given up yourself in the past. You know, you've jumped on the scales, you've had a fantastic day, you've done everything you needed to do, your step count, your water intake, you know, your calories are all tracked, absolutely everything is micromanaged, you've been to the gym. Spike. Fuck this, doesn't work. Well, let's break that down today and let's make sure that we go through this, and I'm going to help you be able to master the mindset, work towards mastering the mindset so we can transform your results for good. So, first thing that I want you to understand is weight loss is never going to be linear. The scales are never going to be linear. They're never ever going to be linear, and what I mean by that is they're never going to essentially look like this. So if we were to go down a little touch as well, they're never just going to, let me just move my camera down, they're never just going to move in like this lower straight line. Like they're never going to just basically be in a curve like that. Never going to happen. It's very, very rare that it happens, and it can happen, but it's not very often that we see this. So having the expectation that it's going to be linear like this, 80.8, 80.6, 80.4, 80.2, 80, pardon me, 79.6, 79.5. The fact that sometimes we think that that may be the case, we're setting ourselves up with unrealistic targets. What we want to be doing is looking at what it's more than likely going to look like. 80.8, 80.9, 81.2, 80.4, 79.9. Boss, brand new low weigh-in, spike up, 80.9. Following day, 80 kilo. This is how the scales, and probably how your scales at the moment potentially look. So just understanding and having that realistic expectation is they're never going to be linear, and they're probably going to look a little bit more like this, okay? So what causes scale weight fluctuations? The biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is understanding the dozens of reasons as well, but I also want you to be practical with this training, not just sit and listen. Like, same thing that we do with all of our clients. We want to make sure that they implement. The more we implement, the more we change our results in the present and the future. So I want you to bear in mind what I'm going to be talking about here, and every single time that your weight spikes or you see a spike in your weight, try and revert back to a couple of these reasons and act with a more proactive approach instead of a reactive approach, okay? Number one, slow digestion. Number two, water retention, which of course happens through a lot of these reasons. High stress levels, cortisol spikes, more water retention. Poor sleep, same thing, it's a stress on the body, more water retention. Eating late, therefore not much time to digest the food in the first place. Drinking late, so if you're drinking a 1.5 litre bottle of water at 10 p.m. at night, that's 1.5 kilo worth of water going into your system late on. Not even potentially giving you the chance to digest that. Time of the day, so if you're weighing in at 5 a.m. one day, 7 a.m. the next, 6 a.m. the next, 9 a.m. the next, they're going to be completely different as well, because you've had a longer time for stress to settle, obviously hormones to settle, etc. There's so much that comes into that. Obviously sickness, if you're battling sickness at the moment, you'll see a scale spike, water retention. Menstrual cycle, depending on where you're at in your cycle, of course, if you're a female as well. Same thing with this, it'll impact, it'll cause different fluctuations depending on what phase of your cycle that you're in. Really big one to bear in mind as well. Higher carbs, if you're not monitoring your carbohydrate intake as well, so this is why it's super important that you have a specific plan for yourself as well. Obviously, this is where the Unbecoming Blueprint as well comes in for the team, making sure that they have exactly what they need in regards to the macro targets as well. You know, if you're consistently going over your carbs and you're having higher carbohydrates, we store more water, we store more glycogen into the muscles, water into the muscles, due to more higher carbohydrates, so therefore we could be storing more water. We normally tend to store around 2 to 4 grams of water per gram of carb, so bear that in mind. If you're consistently going over your carbs, we could just be storing more water on a day-to-day basis. Muscle inflammation, that soreness, that soreness that you feel in your body after the back of a workout, this is DOMS. We don't want to be going, oh, I can't have this, I can't do this, because it's going to cause that. That's just the normal part and parcel of training. However, muscle inflammation causes water retention. Medication, another one, if you're on any form of medication, can also be the same thing. Alcohol, water retention as well. Obviously, we normally tend to see a dehydrated drop on the scales, then a spike back the following day. Also, salt intake, sodium intake, it's a big one. These all cause some form of water retention or spike on the scale. So try and bear these dozens of reasons in mind for next time. I don't know what you probably sat there thinking, my mind can't handle it. I know, and there's more reasons. So straight away, this is why it's super important for us to act proactive, sit back, and actually, be able to sit with these reasons instead of acting reactively, okay? So our goal is to get through the curve. This is one of the biggest things that I always help teach our clients from the very beginning. And this is why you'll see our clients lose anything from 5-6 pounds, if that's what they want to achieve, right the way up until a 10-stone weight loss. We have helped people right the way between that barrier, of all different backgrounds and all different starting positions as well. And this is one of the biggest things that we try and instill from early doors. And this is exactly why they go on to achieve life-changing results as well. Because they get through the curve. They have that accountability from myself to get through the curve. Because it is difficult to get through the curve without having that accountability, without having someone checking in on you, feeding back to you, listening to you, providing you with the education. Straight away, what I mean by the curve, 80.8, 80.9. 81.2, this is a little curve here that may see a little bit of a climb from the day before. If you give up here, you're not going to see your brand new low weigh-in 2 days later, your progress that you actually are making. Then you'll see the spike the following day up to 80.9. If you give up here, we're not going to be back down to basically our lowest weigh-in. That's what happens if we don't get through the curve. On the other side of every high, there's a low. This is something I want you to remember, and this is why we focus on the average weigh-in, not the daily weigh-ins. We don't actually pay too much attention to the daily weigh-ins, because as you'll be able to see on this graph here that I've just shown you, the average is 80.58 kilo. 80.58 kilo is the average of this graph here. So you'll just to bear in mind, just watch over those numbers for me. 80.8, 80.9, 81.2, 80.4, 79.9, 80.9, 80. Scale number 2 over here, 80.2, 80.3, 80, 79.7, 80.5, 80.3, 80. Doesn't feel like there's much difference between those scales. The only difference is one of them, on this one we've got no 81 weigh-ins, we've got no weigh-ins in the 81 kilos. But as you'll be able to see, the chart 2 average, this one here, is 80.14 compared to the week before, meaning that you've essentially lost on this 0.44 kilo in the last 7 days on average. That's over £1 that you've lost over the last 7 days because you've took your average weigh-in. So how we do that is we add all of our weigh-ins up from the week. So if you've weighed in for 7 days continuously, add all of those weigh-ins up in kilos, divide that number by the amount of days that you've weighed in. So let's say you've weighed in every day, add all your weigh-ins up, get your end number, divide that number by 7. That's going to give you your average weight for the week. Continue to monitor this. So let's say your goal is to lose a percentage of your body weight per week, which is probably the gold standard. That'll be, of course, a percentage of what your body weight is. So, of course, if you're in the 60 kilos, 0.6, 70 kilos, 0.7, 80, 0.8, 90, 0.9, hundreds, 1 kilo, etc., 111, well, 110s, 1.1. This is a gold standard. So if you look at a week-by-week basis and your average isn't aligning with your targets, or it massively drops when you see a maintenance, that's when things can change. But that's why it's super important to be patient and continue to monitor watching our weekly average, something that we do with our clients to make sure that they're consistently moving forward alongside the Unbecoming Blueprint, which is what they have when they come in to work with us as well. A week-by-week touch point where we want to be making sure that they fall in line with the target that we set together. That's going to help them get to the end goal. And once we start to set them together and we actually be real with that, we'll be able to monitor on a week-by-week basis when they're actually in line with the target. And of course, if they're not, we make sure that we make changes to help them push forward as well. So obviously on top of that, if you'd like any more information on working with myself one-to-one as well, check the description below, or just simply message me the word on Instagram, the word coaching, and I'll fire over all the details that you need as well. But obviously on top of that, it's important to understand how to take your average weigh-in, which I've just shown you there, and also really important to understand, if we go back, why the scales fluctuate in the first place, understanding they're never going to be linear, they're never just going to fly right the way down, it never happens, but also understanding the importance of getting through the curve. On the top of every high, there's going to be a low, as long as you are adhering to the plan as well. And if we look at the average is the most important, because these look very similar, these two charts. However, as you'll be able to see, the only difference is this one has an 81 kilo weigh-in, this one doesn't, and as you'll be able to see, the average is pulled down. This is actually off my own weight graph, by the way, 0.44 kilo in a week. Okay, that's just over £1 progress in a week. You know, this can, of course, be different depending on the person, depending on the rate of loss that you're working towards. But hopefully, this has helped the mindset around why the scales fluctuate, how you can overcome that curve, and remembering after every single high champ, there's a low. So as I said, if you'd like more information, you know what to do. But if not, I hope this training has helped, and I'll catch you on the next one. Let's go.